Shravana Kirtana Hridayantastaya Patrani Vedanati Suhitsatam Ashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavatiruttam Shloker Bhaktir Bhavati Nastiki. Hare Krishna, everybody. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 1, verses 21, 22, 23, and 24. Verse 21. Tapyamanam tribhunam pranaya medha sagina nirgatena muner murdhana samikshya prabhavastrayah. Tapyamanam, synonyms. Tapyamanam, while practicing austerities. Tribhuvanam, the three worlds. Pranayam, practice of breathing exercise. Edhasa, fuel. Agnina, by the fire. Nirgatena, issuing out. Mune, of the great sage. Murdhana, the top of the head. Samiksha, looking over. Prabhava, Traya, the three great gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While Atri Muni was engaged in these severe austerities, a blazing fire came out of his head by virtue of his breathing exercises, and that fire was seen by the three principal deities of the three worlds. Purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the fire of pranayam is mental satisfaction. That fire was perceived by the super soul Vishnu, and thereby Lord Brahma and Shiva also perceived it. Atri Muni, by his breathing exercise, concentrated on the super soul or the Lord of the universe, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The Lord of the universe is Vasudeva, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, and by the direction of Vasudeva, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva work. Therefore, on the direction of Vasudeva, both Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva perceived the severe penance adopted by Atri Muni, and thus they were pleased to come down as stated in the next verse. Apsaro Muni Gandharva Siddha Vidyadharo Ragahe Vitayamana Yasyas Tad Ashram Padam Yuyu. Apsara, heavenly society women. Muni, great sages. Gandharva, inhabitants of the Gandharva planet. Siddha, of Siddhaloka. Vidyadhara, other demigods. Uruge, the inhabitants of Nagalok. Vitayaman, being spread. Yasasaha, fame, reputation. Tat, his. Ashram Padam, hermitage. Yayu, went. Translation. At that time, the three deities approached the hermitage of Atri Muni, accompanied by the denizens of the heavenly planets, such as the celestial beauties, the Gandharvas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, and the Nagas. Thus they entered the ashram of the great sage who had become famous by his austerities. It is advised in the Vedic literature that one should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the universe and the master of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. He is known as the Super Soul, and when one worships the Super Soul, all other deities such as Brahma and Shiva appear with Lord Vishnu because they are directed by the Super Soul. Tat Pradurbhava Samyoga Vidyotita Manamuni Uttisthan Ekapadena Tadarsha Vidu Vibhu Vibudha Rishabhan. Tata, there, Pradurbhava, appearance, Samyog, simultaneously, Vidyotit, enlightened, Mana, in the mind, Muni, the great sage, Uttistham, being awakened, Ekapadena, even on one leg, Tadarsha, saw, Vibudha, demigods, Rishabhan, the great personalities. Translation: Sage was standing on one leg, but as soon as he saw the three deities had appeared before him, he was so pleased to see them all together that despite great difficulty, he approached them on one leg. Pranamya Dandavad Bhumava Upatasthe Arhanad Arananjali Varshahamsa Suparnasthan Swe Swes Chines Swe Chines Cha Chihnitan. Synonyms: Pranamya, offering obeisances; Dandavat, like a rod; Bhumo, ground; Upataste, fell down; Arhana, all paraphernalia for worship; Anjali, folded hands; Vrisha, bull; Hansa, swan; Suparna, a Garur bird; Sthana, situated; Swe, own; Swe, own; Chihne, by symbols; Ch, and Chinitan, being recognized. Translation: Thereafter he began to offer prayers to the three deities who were seated on different carriers, a bull, a swan, and Garuda, and who held in their hands a drum, kusha grass, and a discus. The sage offered them his respects by falling down like a stick. Purport: Danda means a long rod and Vat means like. Before a superior, one has to fall down on the ground just like a stick, and this sort of offering of respect is called Dandavat. Atri Rishi offered his respect to the three deities in that way. They were identified by their different carriers and different symbolic representations. In that connection, it is stated here that Lord Vishnu was sitting on Garuda, a big aquiline bird, and was carrying in his hand a disc. Brahma was sitting on a swan and had in his hand kusha grass, and Lord Shiva was sitting on a bull and carrying in his hand a small drum called a damru. Atri Rishi recognized them by their symbolic representations and different carriers, thus he offered them prayers and respects. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-Anjana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to purify myself by serving Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on chapter 1 of Canto 4, and this chapter is titled Genealogical Table of the Daughters of Manu. At the end of last canto, and the last few chapters, we heard the details about Sankhya Yoga and the instructions given by Kapila Muni to Devahuti, his mother, after she had gone through all the ups and downs of life and serving her husband Kardama Muni. She was blessed with Kapila Muni, who, after growing up, instructs her about the most important instructions about life and how to give up life and in what kind of consciousness we have to situate ourselves in order to make the best use of a bad bargain, which is this material body. And best use is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She was born of Swayambhuva Manu, so as such, she was a princess, but was given in marriage to Kardama Muni. She had two other sisters, Akuti and Prasuti. So So here this chapter describes the daughters of Manu and the genealogical and their offsprings. They both had, daughters, 8 or 9, and Akuti and Prasuti. So they all had children, and here it is describing their order. By understanding this, why it is important that Sage Vyas, this is not only the genealogical table of daughters of Manu, but elsewhere also a few times you will come across that a genealogical table has been provided by Vyasadeva in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why it is given? Because it does not convey any message as such about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but just talking about historical facts about who was born of who. But from it is important in one sense that we have to understand that how Supreme Personality of Godhead also appear through the devotees, and how through severe penances also how he Supreme Personality manifests. And here in this particular 4 verses, we see that not only he manifests, but he manifests along with his the Trinity, as they call it, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. So Lord Vishnu appears along with Brahma and Shiva, Lord Shiva. So we also understand from Chaitanya Charitamrita how Lord Chaitanya or Krishna himself appeared through the womb of Sachimata. By whose request? Advaita Acharya. And what was the purpose? Purpose is always the same, to annihilate the miscreants and to deliver the. But in this incarnation as Mahaprabhu, there is no annihilation. However, the annihilation of the miscreants is not done in this of Channa Avtara of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. However, the annihilation is done of the Duskritini, the bad elements that lead men to do bad things. So it's the annihilation of the bad karmas, annihilation of the. So instead of killing, annihilating the miscreants, the things that cause them to become miscreant, those things are destroyed. And what is the method given by Mahaprabhu? By which, if those who have been chanting for a prolonged period of time must feel in their heart, must feel that all the bad tendencies within the personality of a person starts to wane. We see that we no longer think about all the sensory perverted thinking that could have been once a part of our life, actually, while growing up, or like when you're young age particularly. So that thing starts to vanish because the purification process in the heart has already started. So Prabhupada says that while chanting, if some bad things come into your mind, you should keep on chanting, and rather than keep dwelling on that thought, the thought will disappear on its own. And once slowly we chant and become our habit, then these things will not bother us again. So here we see that a great tapasya is being performed by Atri Muni, and but he had a desire to have sunlight, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Vishnu. But as will become clear, he wanted them to have, like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh also, the three of them. So all the three modes of material nature get combined, and we see Dattatreya as an example of having, although is the supreme personality of Godhead, but having the aspects of other modes as well. So this is how we have to relate. So it brings any which way the mind, through the readings or through the this thing, any which way the mind comes to the focal point of Vasudeva, of Lord Krishna, that is purifying, and that is what is Vyasadeva is writing and giving us information, and how we saw that from Ruchi's son and daughter, that were uh, this thing, the Dakshina and Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yagya. Yeah, so they also were born. So we have to understand, not just get carried away that, oh, by that calculation they are brother and sister. If we imagine like that, go back all the way, then the progenitors or the Prajapatis, you will see that everybody is related to everybody. So we cannot bring these things in today's society. It is different, however, but yes, but Supreme Personality has to be married to the Lakshmi Devi. So those are the things, but we should not pay attention to such things as bodily relations, but we have to understand the message, that is how Supreme Personality, through whose hard labor or in tapasya, how they are able to even compel the Supreme Lord Vasudeva to appear in their family. So those are the kind of messages that we perceive from here. Not only as Jiva Goswami mentioned in the purport, according to Prabhupada, Jiva Goswami mentioned that not only Vasudeva, super soul is within your heart, but can be without also, but manifests outside with 400 forms. And when Vasudeva is there, then the Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are also perceived to be present. Not only them, but other demigods and other denizens also come and watch what's going on, and how such severe austerities can have bring about the results. How Dhruva Maharaja compelled Lord Vasudeva or Vishnu to appear before him, even though he was meditating for material purposes. But Lord Vishnu, who is the grantor of these wishes, appeared and granted him. But after he saw him or got touched by the conch of Lord Vishnu, his consciousness totally changed from material to spiritual. And he says that I don't want anything after I've seen it. There is nothing more. No amount of material opulence can satisfy a brief moment of association with you. So this is how we realize. And as we are growing, everybody, we understand, a lot of us have accumulated wealth, a lot of us have accumulated, have good children. But once we are across 60, 65, or age span grows, or even while we are growing up, we understand that, and everything that we see, that everything that is of the nature of, say, wealth or material, even though it is it should be used for for the purpose of the Supreme Personality. But we do realize the futility of having those things. It can provide a little comfortable house, maybe a comfortable satisfaction. That is why we say that sometimes Vasudeva or Shesha Shaya, Lord Vishnu is sleeping on the Sheshashaya. Sometimes Shesh means like, the remaining balance. So if you have accumulated, that Shesh means like, you have Shesh balance, like, so you are comfortable. You are comfortable on the balance of the money that you have accumulated. So, but you can provide the right value to your next generation so that they become the custodian of something, not for sense gratification, but for proper use in the service of the Supreme Lord. So with this,